All right, so this is going to be a very interesting video. Today we are going to be discussing altcoin season. Is altcoin season still coming? A lot of people have given up on altcoin season and people are really losing faith in the market. People are starting to get really bored in this market, but this is actually the time to pay the most attention in the market. This is how the market works. It tries to bore you as much as possible and then eventually gets you to leave the market. And just when you're not looking, the magic happens, but these are the things that we are going to be talking about today. I'm going to be looking into a couple of crypto projects and I'm going to be looking at Bitcoin, Ethereum, and others, and most importantly, Bitcoin dominance. So if this is a video that you're excited about, don't forget to smash the like button, subscribe, follow, and share this video with people that you think will like it. All right, let's get into it. All right, so the first thing that we are going to be looking at today is this Bitcoin dominance charts, right? Previously in the past, I discussed about the timeline for this Bitcoin dominance and how it has, worked out significantly well in the past. Looking at this right here, we can see the chart is currently divided. This chart is currently divided into three major parts. You can see we have this period here, we have this white line here, we have this white line here, we have this white line here. Each of these lines are representing the various Bitcoin halving events that has occurred in the past and its effect on altcoin season. So you can see here, after 224 days, after the halving of the Bitcoin markets, we then experienced a dump in Bitcoin dominance. And over here, same thing. After the Bitcoin halving, we had 224 days. Afterwards, and then we had Bitcoin dominance drop significantly. Same thing with this one where we are now. We had 224 days after the halving, and then Bitcoin dominance dropped, but this time it went back up. And this drop that actually came into this Bitcoin dominance was during Donald Trump's inauguration. That's not inauguration, when he won the election. That was what led to this drop here. But the market has actually recovered after that. But the dominance has actually recovered up after that and actually closed above this high here. However, there is something that is really interesting. There's a theory that I'm starting to entertain right now. So here's the thing, right? This market dominance thing, I think, is actually being manipulated because a lot of investors out there right now are really, really interested in the top dogs like Bitcoin, Ethereum, and the rest. So I think what's going on right now is that they're actually trying to manipulate prices down. So I think what's going on right now is that they're actually trying to manipulate prices down in order for people to, sell their crypto, sell their Bitcoin specifically, and then they eventually buy it up. I really think that's the plan. As you can see, Donald Trump literally announced that he wants to make the United States the number one crypto country. So, and he's not just focusing on any other crypto. His major focus is Bitcoin. They want to accumulate as much Bitcoin as much as possible. So I think that is really what's going on right now. But however, let's get to the charts because the charts don't lie. So look at this candlestick here. This huge candlestick that we have here is actually referred to as a bearish hammer, right? Now this candlestick is an indication that there's a lot of supply in this area here for dominance. So it means that prices are likely not going to close above 64. In my opinion, I don't even see it getting that high, but you never can really tell. But I think that prices are not going to get up to 64. I think a reversal at 62 would actually make sense. It's at 62% in dominance now. But this is what this bearish hammer means. And if we are looking at something like that and for market to drop, and then we are looking at market to drop to at least this 55% thereabouts, that's in dominance, it's really, really good for altcoin season, in my opinion. And I really think that this is something that could really, really trigger prices right now. And it's possible that prices have even started reversing. As you can see, this dominance chart that I'm showing you is on the weekly time frame. And if we go to something like Bitcoin, on the 1 week time frame for Bitcoin, it is very clear that we are about having a reversal as well. Quite the opposite of what we had on the dominance charts. This is a bullish hammer, right? And as you can see, prices have literally not closed below it. We had a week, yes, we had a week here, but we did not close below it. So it's possible that prices could be reversing right now to set new all-time highs. It's actually a possibility. But I'm not saying that's going to happen, but it's actually a possibility. And there are various things that are pointing to a reversal right now. I'm not sure how high this reversal is going to go, but there are certain things that are pointing towards that direction right now on Bitcoin, especially on the bigger time frames. To something like the 1 week time frame, I have these my favorite indicators here. Two of them actually. Look at this, the MACD. We're already starting to flash this lighter red here on the MACD histogram. This is actually a clear indication that bearish momentum may be reducing. And even on the stochastic RSI, you can see this cross is actually really happening. We just have to maintain this blue line above this orange line. It just has to stay that way for prices to react. But that's on the 1 week time frame. If we go to something like the 1 day time frame, on the 1 day time frame, we are actually getting a cross as well. We just had a bullish cross on the MACD as well. So everything is really looking a bit bullish for Bitcoin right now. We are in a bullish environment, in my opinion. And most people are not paying attention. As usual, people do not pay attention to this stuff because most people will get in at the wrong time. Let's say the market actually reverses right now and then we start hitting the all-time highs. That's when you start seeing a lot of people will now be interested in it, and then to be too late, they will now buy the top, market to crash, and we are back to square one. So you have to keep your head in the game if you really want to stay here for a long term. I'm currently in a long position on Bitcoin, which I entered, I think yesterday. Yeah, yesterday. And that position is at about 20 or 30% right now. So I'm looking at 92k for a range as to where I think the market is going to go. This is a pretty rough chart. I should show you guys a clean chart. Yeah, this is more like it. I think this is neater than the other one I just showed. Yeah, so this is what my trade is looking like right now, and I explained that this trade briefly in my private group, and the reason I decided to take the trade. This was the last update that I dropped in the group. But yeah, I was like, this may be an early entry. This may be an early entry for Bitcoin, but I'm really interested in entering a long position for Bitcoin. For the large part of March, Bitcoin ranged between 77k and 92k. And as you can see here, this is what I mean. 92k here, 77k here, and this has basically been what Bitcoin has traded around. So me, I'm of the opinion that if this happens, I'm of the opinion that Bitcoin is going to get back to 92k, and if this happens, then I will be 70% convinced that 77k was actually the bottom and Bitcoin could be headed back to new all-time highs. There are various downwards trends are looking various downward trends are looking to be broken. Overall, it just looks really interesting, and also a lot of retail investors are getting tired and bored, and some are even selling. And literally, that's what's going on right now. A lot of people are getting really tired of the market because it has been boring. This has been how many days now? Since we dumped. Um, this has been 37 days. It has been 37 days for the whole of March. We've actually just been ranging. For people that bought somewhere around here or somewhere around here, they're not enjoying this shit right now. However, that is the time to be paying the most attention. But looking at this here, we have these resistance levels on the trend lines that are actually getting broken. We already broke above this one here, and then we came back here to find a little bit of a support on it here. And now we've gotten this support level and we are reacting to it. The next line that I think we are going to get rid of will be this major trend line here. And this major trend line here has been respected since January, right? It has been a trend line that has been respected since the beginning of the year. So if for any reason we are able to break above this trend line, I think it's really, really significant. And I think it could just be a straight pump to 92k and then the market to reject. I'm looking at something like this for a move. Um, something like this. Yeah, this is the kind of move that I'm looking at for Bitcoin, and then we could continue just smashing through all of these various resistance levels. This is what I think is going to happen with Bitcoin. Listen, unfortunately, most of the time, people do not pay attention when it is time to be paying attention in the market. That's just the way it is, and it's not really your fault. It's just the way the market keeps winning, because the market has to win, right? It is a game that you cannot beat the market. You only have to try to join the market, if that makes sense. Follow what the market is doing, and you probably wouldn't lose. That's just the way it is. But once you're trading against the markets, you're definitely going to find yourself in a lot of mess. And usually, unknowingly to most people, when they come into the markets at the wrong time, they're actually trading against the market. Because if you are entering the market when the market is trying to fall, how are you going to make money? This is the psychology of the market that a lot of people do not know, And if you don't understand something, it does not mean that it doesn't work. It just means you don't understand it. And if you participate in that thing while you don't understand it, they're going to lose. That's just the game. So let me look at some altcoins right now. Let's start with Cardano. Right. So Cardano happens to be one of my favorite crypto coins. So this is Cardano on the 1 week time frame. Cardano happens to be one of my favorite crypto coins forever, like since forever. Those who have been with me for a long time, like since 2020, 2021, you should know very well how much I like Cardano. Cardano holds the number one spot in my portfolio. That's how seriously I'm into Cardano. Right. So, but Cardano right now looks pretty interesting, and I think a reversal would make sense at this area. Why am I saying that? What we have here, looking at these two trend lines, we have something I like to refer to as a broadening wedge. So a broadening wedge is a situation whereby we have a tinier entry, and then the mouth of of the wedge is wide. That's why it's broadening wedge. It's an expanding wedge, so to speak. Now, how I like to analyze this chart is by placing a middle point in any wedge that I'm analyzing. I like to place the middle point, right? How the market reacts to that middle point of that pattern will tell me what direction is likely going to play out, right? So after establishing this here, we have this huge spike to the upside here. I think this was when Donald Trump announced that Cardano was going to be part of the strategic reserve plans for crypto in the US, right? So I think this was what led to this huge rally to the upside. So because of that, we've actually started to maintain this middle area as a support level. Is it a coincidence? I don't know, but it is what happens in the markets, and you cannot ignore it. There's no reason for you to ignore it, because you can literally see it right there in the screen. As you can see, we've started printing out this green candlestick here, and it happens to be, right at this um right at this middle point here. So I think that's pretty interesting. And for the fact that we haven't even closed any single body below this middle point in the chart, it just makes it look a lot more interesting. I actually did purchase a little bit of Cardano recently, and I'm interested in seeing how it plays out. But yeah, with a chart pattern like this, I think I'm expecting Cardano to at least get back to $1 at the very least. Also, for the simple fact that this area here that we are getting this huge level of support at happens to align with this same area here that acted as resistance before. So it's perfect, you know, for us to be having a flipping in at this point. What we want to do in order to solidify a perfect market structure is when we are turning what was a resistance level before into a support level, and that's exactly what's happening right here. And we could be looking at Cardano doing, we already had this move to the downside, so we could be looking at Cardano doing something like this, and if we keep smashing above previous resistance level, we could definitely be on the way to set new all-time highs. We'll be having a market move like this. I think this would really make sense to experience with Cardano, and it's really going to make the market interesting. um yeah, so let's go to another chart. Let's go to something like WEEF. So on WEEF, we are actually kind of experiencing the same thing as well. We are kind of flipping what was a resistance level before into a support level. Look at this here, right? This looks like a very interesting zone. Look at this. We had previous resistance here. This was a clear resistance area before, and we are flipping it into a support right now, imagining that this place should hold. And I don't really do not see any reason why this place should not hold, because everything really looks good. We have volumes about to peak pick up. We have bullish momentum on the stochastic RSI on the 1 day. Everything pretty looks good. Looks pretty good on for WEEF to start moving. And for the at any point where If prices start moving up for wave and then we start smashing above these resistance levels, it's just really makes sense for wave to then approach 1.4. That would actually be a really, really massive move. From here to 1.4 is about 200%. On 10x leverage, you're looking at 2000%. So I really think a move like that is really, really possible. But for WIF to get to new all-time highs, I don't know. I need to point out that a lot of projects may not actually reach new all-time highs again. It's actually very possible, guys. Listen, Bitcoin is the main cryptocurrency. Bitcoin is the main cryptocurrency. I need you to keep that in mind. The fact that the US is basically thinking about making Bitcoin a huge part of their strategic reserve, a lot of other countries are going to follow through. What do you think is going to happen to the price of Bitcoin? What do you think is going to happen to the dominance of Bitcoin? Yes, a lot of altcoins will still have market shares, but Bitcoin is going to be the number one cryptocurrency. I'm not here to sound like a Bitcoin maximalist or anything like that, but I'm just making you understand that the main cryptocurrency here is Bitcoin. Other coins will definitely come out of it as they, pose other opportunities, but I don't want you to expect too much from them until, the entire crypto industry has been properly regulated by the United States. I just felt like I had to mention this because a lot of people now will start putting millions into these cryptocurrencies, expecting it to get to like, um, some people can have crazy price predictions for something like WIF now. You could be thinking that we forget to $20, or maybe we forget to the price of Bitcoin someday. I don't know. It's possible. It's actually really possible, but I don't know. I think we are way too early in this particular sector. So focusing on something solid like Bitcoin or Ethereum or Solana or Cardano, a lot of all these layer one projects, it would actually make sense now going for a meme coin like WIF, right? So I don't know. I'm thinking that majority of these meme coins may not eventually do too well or get to new all-time highs. And I'm not just saying this off the top of my head. Look at this dominance. Let's go back to the dominance charts. Everyone who knows me knows that I like to look at this market practically and from a range bound perspective. What are we looking at? If we are looking at market structures, we have this to be a higher, this to be a low. We have this to be a lower high. We have this to be a higher low, right? But we've established this higher low. For altcoins to perform as well as they did in previous cycles, we are going to have to see Bitcoin dominance drop significantly. That's clear this low and then probably get to at least 36% dominance. I really don't see that happening, to be honest. With all of this bullish environment that I've just told you for Bitcoin, do you really see Bitcoin's dominance dropping that low? I really don't think so. People are spending a lot of money to accumulate Bitcoin right now, and I really don't see um Bitcoin dominance dropping this low. At most, right? I think a move like this would actually make sense for altcoin season. Something like this, a move down to this previous resistance level. Look at this. This is about a many percent drop in dominance for Bitcoin, 20% drop in dominance back to around 40-50%. I think that's okay. Honestly, I really think that's okay. It's okay to push prices to new all-time highs, make some of your altcoins pump, and so that you can take profits. But I really don't see it getting this low again. This is how I think the market is going to reverse. We are going to head back here, and that will be the bear market, and then we'll have dominance do something like this, set a higher high. You know, I really think this is what is going to happen. And if it's going to play out like this, then it means that um a lot of all these meme coins are probably not going to get to new all-time highs again. This is actually a pretty bitter truth that a lot of people will not want to accept right now. But that's just how I see the market, and it actually makes a lot of sense. Even for Bitcoin, I really don't see Bitcoin getting as high as $200,000. I think 150K is the most for me. I don't think 200K is likely. I may be wrong. I can actually be wrong, and I would like to be wrong, but we never can really tell right now until we see what the market is doing. So, fingers crossed. But I just need you to have the mindset that whenever prices move significantly, don't be afraid to take profits. Look at WIF, for instance. WIF has just established a double top, which is an M formation. And typically, for a move like this, we are likely going to get back here to retest the resistance level, and then we're back here. So this is a very significant move. I calculated this just now. This is over 200%. A 200% move right now, if you buy, is pretty okay. And maybe it can get as high as even here, because this is where the major supply came into the market, or maybe even here. But all-time highs, I really don't see it happening. I don't know. I may be wrong. I may be wrong, because I'm actually invested in WIF as well. So if I'm wrong, I'll be happy. But I don't know. I'm just not seeing it happening. But for something like Cardano, yes, Cardano can get to new all-time highs, because number one, if you look at the dump that happened, it was not that crazy compared to what we just looked at. Look at the dump that happened on Cardano. Just about how many percent? 40%, 48%. It's actually bad. But it's not as crazy as what we just saw on Reef, right? But and if you look at the distance between the all-time highs for Cardano is actually around $3, and we're at about 68 cents. And we already approached $1.3, and we've not set new all-time highs. Keep in mind that Cardano was one of the cryptocurrencies that Donald Trump mentioned. So a new all-time highs would actually make sense for something like Cardano. If you're looking at something like Ethereum, I could say the same thing. A new all-time highs would make sense for something like Ethereum. But we're just gonna have to see how the market plays out. And truth be told, I really don't see Ethereum getting more than $5,000. I really don't see it happening, to be honest. I think $5,000 is the most, if I'm stretching, or $6,000. But 10K, I don't think I see that happening for something like Ethereum, simply because of the fact that we already broke this trend line. Look at this trend line that has been in existence right from the very start of Ethereum. Right, we've never ever broken below it, but this cycle we broke below it. Look at it, we broke below it here in 2024. After breaking below it here, in my opinion, that was just the end. Once you break below a trend line, it's not going to look good moving forward. So I really think that it's really interesting. And if you look very closely, this is actually a rising wedge, and you guys know I like to trade rising wedge a lot. So something like this, I think if the market is going to be nice, we could get back to this supply area here. But to see Ethereum doing astronomical numbers like $10,000, I don't see it happening. I really don't see it happening. I think Bitcoin is going to eat up a lot of dominance in this market, and I'm really of the opinion that Bitcoin is going to eat up a lot of the dominance in this market moving forward. And if it's going to give chance to these altcoins a little, it's probably going to drop to 50% dominance at the very most. That's just what I think is going to happen with this market, and I really like to hear your thoughts on these guys. What do you think is going to happen to the market? Do you think all of what I just said is wrong, or do you think the market is going to go astronomical and we are going to be hearing 300,000 Bitcoin and $20,000 Ethereum? What do you guys think? Drop your comments in the comment section below. And if you enjoyed this video, make sure to smash the like button, subscribe, follow, share, and do all that nice stuff. All right, I'll see you in the next video.